Opposition parties want a vote of no confidence against President Jacob Zuma to be held in Parliament, and they want it done in secret. They believe that will allow MPs from the ruling African National Congress to vote in favor of removing Zuma without fear of retribution. The Speaker of Parliament, Baleka Mbete, maintains she doesn't have the power to authorize a secret ballot. But the country's highest court has ruled otherwise.
She has the properly guided latitude to prescribe what she considers to be appropriate voting procedure in the circumstances. It may be necessary to add that her counsel reiterated during the hearing that the Speaker is not really opposed to a secret ballot. The President's counsel also said that the Constitution neither requires nor prohibits, but in reality permits a secret ballot.
Opposition parties have welcomed the ruling.
The UDM feels vindicated because we asked the Speaker to use her prerogative, but she put the interest of her political party ahead of Parliament.
We wish to now write to the Speaker and have that motion scheduled as soon as possible, and we will ensure that when the Speaker makes the decision that she has to now make as to whether or not it should be an open ballot or a secret ballot, that that decision is a rational decision that supports the Constitution, that supports freedom, that supports fairness, and supports the people of South Africa.
President Zuma has come under pressure over his controversial cabinet reshuffle. He's previously survived a number of votes of no confidence, thanks to the ruling party's parliamentary majority. The ANC says whether the motion of no confidence ends up being held in secret or not, the party has its unqualified confidence in its MPs not to vote to remove President Zuma. The ANC has also welcomed the ruling as a sign that Judge Mogoeng is reiterating the importance of the separation of powers.
In other words, the court, whilst affirming the important principles of Constitution, it did not want to be drawn into politics in Parliament, where Parliament itself has got powers and rules to determine its own business. And I think affirming that, it took the matter back to the Speaker.
The next step is for Parliament to set a date for the matter to be tabled. Yolisa, Njamela, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Right, now the precise number of no confidence votes that Mr. Zuma survived is 4. Can he survive the 5th one? Let's find out. Angelo Coppola is live in Johannesburg tonight. He's going to give us more context to this particular story. Angelo, the President was asked earlier today if he would explicitly support a secret ballot vote on a no confidence motion on him earlier today. What was his response?
Well, he answered by saying thanks for the question, but no thanks. He's also reminded the opposition that they've tried, in fact, 7 times before to get a no confidence vote through on his presidency in Parliament, and have failed every single time. He stuck to his guns, and he was wondering aloud why there should be a secret vote when the voting on the previous no confidence votes were actually done in public. So he also then wandered off topic a little, telling the opposition benches that the country's voters would again return the ANC as the majority party in 2019. So Zuma wants a public vote because that's the way it was done in the past. Rabbi?
Indeed, and of course there was this really curious quote as well coming through where he described as a no confidence vote on a secret ballot as being not fair to him. So let's assume, for argument's sake, that the Speaker doesn't order a secret ballot vote. What justification would we have for doing so, and what consequences would that have on the ANC?
Well, she's justified in terms of the Constitution because it's quiet on whether there should be a secret ballot when it comes to votes of no confidence or impeachment votes against the President. So she's correct there. The issue that the Speaker had was that she didn't believe that she had the authority to call for a secret ballot. The Constitutional Court today, as you heard, confirmed that it was within her job description to call that secret ballot. Should she decide on a public vote, though, the opposition parties have already indicated that if they don't get a satisfactory explanation for that decision, they're going straight back to court. As to the consequences for the ANC, well, that all depends on whether the ANC MPs are going to vote according to party lines. We have heard from the party's chief whip late this afternoon that they would indeed be doing so. The question remains, though, whether ANC MPs are going to toe that party line or vote with their conscience, as the opposition parties have been calling on them to do, Raman.
Indeed, and that is the million-dollar question here. The President and the Speaker in today's suit were also ordered to pay the cost of that suit. But does that come out of their pockets as individuals, or does it come out of taxpayers' coffers?
Well, South African taxpayers are probably wishing that the government politicians would be held personally liable for legal costs. It might lead to fewer court challenges, and of course then there'd be less work for the country's advocates and legal teams. Unfortunately, though, there's no personal liability for legal costs, and the long-suffering taxpayers are in for the full amount. Where the funds will come from within the government coffers, though, remains to be seen, and it's not very clear yet at the moment where it's coming from. The taxpayers, though, of course, are going to have to wait for the next legal challenge and see some more of their money spent. Raman?
Indeed. One last question for you. Now, the ANC, in response to the ruling, said they welcome it, they're confident they will defeat the no-confidence motion. It does seem that this is a signal of sorts that the vote will not be held by secret ballot. Am I reading that right?
Well, you know, Raman, much has been said about the outcome. The ANC have tried to claim a victory, but they couldn't explain the Constitutional Court slap it got. That's in the form of that costs order that we spoke about just now. In terms of the actual vote, well, that's up to the Speaker. She hasn't indicated her position either way. Bear in mind, of course, though, that up until the Constitutional Court heard arguments on this matter, she had said that she wasn't against the secret ballot. Let's see what her position is now, because analysts are suggesting that because of her presidential aspirations, her decision may be slightly biased. On the other hand, of course, she might simply toe the party line herself, Raman.
Indeed, and so the political intrigues do continue. Thank you for the update. That's Angela Kupler live in Johannesburg.